A shocking headline out of Washington, D.C. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he will ban transgender people from military service. This is what he tweeted out of the blue, seemingly. Quote, after consultation with my generals and military experts, please be advised that the United States government will not accept or allow transgender individuals to serve in any capacity in the U.S. military. Our military must be focused on decisive and overwhelming victory and cannot be burdened with the tremendous medical costs and disruption that transgender in the military would entail. Thank you. And former U.S. Army soldier Chelsea Manning responded to Trump's tweet with this message, quote, so, biggest, baddest, most expensive military on earth cries about a few trans people but funds the F-35. Sounds like cowardice, unquote. Manning, you may remember, was released from prison in May after serving 7 years for disclosing secret military documents to WikiLeaks. I want to bring in Amanda Simpson. She is the former U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Operational Energy, and she is also the first openly transgender woman to be appointed by a United States president. That was President Barack Obama. Amanda Simpson joins me now from Kazakhstan. Thank you for your time, Ms. Simpson. Appreciate you coming on the program today.
Well, good afternoon.
Tell me your reaction when you first saw these tweets. Did you have any inclination that they were coming?
Well, certainly not. And my initial reaction was anger that the commander-in-chief would break a long-standing sacred trust with service members who have dedicated their lives to protect our nation, serve the Constitution, many of which have done so honorably and with distinction. It's actually a disgrace.
Have you talked to anyone out of Washington in the military who can tell you what happens to transgendered people who are currently serving in the U.S. military?
Well, I have not, but no one really knows what's going to happen. The policy that has been in place for 13 months is still currently in place. And if it's going to be withdrawn or service members are going to be, there's going to be a witch hunt and people are going to be singled out and court-martialed or discharged, we don't know what that means. We also don't know what would be next. We just recently opened our military combat roles to women. What will be next on the agenda? I also think it's, horrible, just very distasteful. This was done on the anniversary of President Truman integrating African Americans into our military. So that Donald Trump would take this action as a distraction from his losses on health care and the continuing investigation to his campaign's connection to a foreign entity is quite astonishing.
I think what's difficult for people to comprehend, too, Ms. Simpson, is that these tweets come out of the blue and seemingly create policy, which just goes against every other acting president or sitting president, of our time. Again, social media wasn't available to all of them, but this seems to happen in a vacuum in many ways. And there's been no comment from the Department of Defense, which is referring all questions to the White House.
Well, of course, because actually Secretary Mattis is on vacation, which I think is interesting that President Trump would do this while the leader and oversight of the Department of Defense is on vacation. Quite frankly, I don't know who his generals are. Those that I know in the military, from the chairman of the Joint Chief and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, were supportive because the United States military should be open to all who are capable of serving and all who are willing to make that sacrifice and commitment. So I don't know who his generals are.
So do you believe, would your assumption be that pretty much everyone was blindsided by this?
Absolutely. I mean, this was a dead issue. Congress took it up a couple of weeks ago, and it was killed off. And that was just about a small portion of what the president has now done. I mean, this is rolling back not just the last 13 months, but this is reinstating something even more abhorrent than don't ask, don't tell.
You talk about the last 13 months, and I've been going through the Twitter feeds this morning looking at some of Donald Trump's past tweets. This goes specifically against his campaign promise to support the LGBTQ community.
this wouldn't be the first time he's contradicted or gone against what he promised and made a commitment to the American people.
How many transgendered people serve in the military, to your best knowledge?
I have no idea. I mean, I know dozens, maybe even hundreds. It could be, it could be thousands or tens of thousands. It really doesn't matter. This is all about the ability to serve and the commitment that those service members have made, and what the nation should be making as a commitment and a response to them. So, I mean, this sends a horrible signal to the volunteer forces that we have into future recruiting, that people who join the military could be discharged for, on the basis of a tweet.
Let's play devil's advocate here for a moment, though, Ms. Simpson,
Sure.
if you allow me. There are some people who will support this, and so it appears he might be appealing to his base.
I have no doubt that he is.
What's your next steps? What do you think needs to happen next?
I mean, I think there's going to be pushback, and we'll see how the implementation is planned, or what the military is planning on doing. Whether there's going to be, like I said, witch hunts, looking for people who are believed to be transgender and kicking them out, or will there be exceptions for those who have meritorious service? We don't have any idea what it means, but I do believe there will be pushback, whether it's on the political or in the public arena.
Amanda Simpson is the former U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Operational Energy, also the first openly transgender woman to be appointed by a United States president. Really appreciate your time and your thoughts today, Ms. Simpson. Thank you.
All right. Have a great afternoon.
You too.